Vishnam Vishnanti Satatam Vishwaksenam Tamasraye Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwara Guru Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Brahmanandam Paramasukadam Kevalam Jnanamurtim Dvandvaditam Gagana Sadrusam Tattvamasya Laksham Yekam Nityam Vimalamachalam Sarvadhi Sakshibhutam Bhavatitam Trigunarahitam Sadgurum Tam Namami. So, continuing back in Indraprastha and the Pandavas minus Arjuna who's with Krishna and Dwaraka, they all after Vidura's and Dhritarashtra's exit, they moved to Hastinapura, and there Yudhishthira was very sad, of course, still very despondent, very sad. One day he was all the more so. It was all the more like when you see somebody, something is bothering them, you can see it from their face. And so the brothers noticed that. They said, "What is the problem, brother Yudhishthira? What is bothering you? Why are you so sad?" And Yudhishthira said to Bhima and Nakula and Sahadeva that, "Yes, I feel very disturbed with everything that I see around me. I really not able to explain. Till then, there been justice was there, fairness was there." He said, "Now I see things around that are unjust, that have injustice in them, violence around, cruelty around. I begin to see all this. So I'm very, very disturbed about it. Do you know what happened? When I was, the other day, he was telling them, in the kingdom I was coming, from my chariot I saw, just as I was approaching my palace, a mother cow was refusing to feed its calf." Can you hear me? Mm-hmm. Okay. Was refusing to feed its calf. Then I took a turn, was driving towards our palace. Something that we had never seen before in our kingdom was happening right in front of my eyes. Ladies, women were there out there in the bazaar, out in the open, loitering and chatting and gossiping. And I thought when they saw me coming in the chariot to king, I thought they would go back into their home. No, they just continued. See, standing there on the streets and talking loudly and all that. They completely ignored me. This has never happened. You can hear. And then I saw another thing that I've never seen before. People were coming out of their houses and they were putting this contrivance, on their door, this is the lock that we used to nowadays. Those days it was not like that. So they were putting that before they were going out. And just at the entrance to our palace, I saw a Brahmin selling milk. That means a Brahmin has become a Vaisya. These are all those days it was not done. Nowadays everybody does business. No. You have to do according to your Varnashramam, Dharmam, Then I come home and the evening time, dusk. So I try to do, the Agnihotram has to be done. So I tried to light the fire. My God, the worst of worst. The fire refused to be lit. However much I tried, I could not light the fire. And yesterday a case came to our court of justice, which was talking about cruelty and injustice and everything. What is happening? I'm really bothered about this. Bhima said, "Anna, you are bothered about this? No, all these things we can put them to right, we can rectify all this by bringing in the right administrative measures. It's not a big deal. Why are you worried about this?" And the Yudhishthira said, Bhima, yes, I know. I am also as intelligent as you are. I know. Yes, administrative measures can be done and all that. But how do you explain? There was today a court case where a wife had come and lodged a case saying that she cannot live with her husband anymore. She wants to go back to her place where she was born, and she wants the marriage to be annulled. Never heard of this before. And to top it off, the horses in our stable, they were all crying. So I sent Sahadeva to find out the reason why they are crying, why they are in so much pain. Sahadeva knows the language of the horses. He can talk to them in their language. He went there, he could not find out the reason. And another thing I'll tell you, it is more than 7 months till our brother Arjuna left for Dwaraka with Krishna. And there has been no news. He has no news of how he is, whether he has reached safely. Nothing at all for the 7 months, which is very unusual. Actually, I am not that much worried about Arjuna, to be very frank. No, he can take care of himself. Bhagavan is there, Krishna is there to protect him. I am not worried about him. But I have not heard back. It's Krishna that I am worried about. I have not heard anything about from him. And then Bhima said, yes, there may be some reason why they have not replied, why they have not sent any message. Why are you worried about it? Just wait a little bit, the message will come. See, a nervous mind creates all kinds of sceneries and possibilities. You are very nervous, he said. Because you're nervous because you think there's going to be another war that's going to come? Who's there left? Nobody is left there to fight with us. Only the 5 of us left. So we have to fight among ourselves, which we will never do. So why are you worried about it? And then Yudhishthira said, Bhima, yes, I am also quite discerning and as intelligent as you are. But you are missing the point. Don't you think that I have not considered all this? Don't you think that I have not considered all the fears and the imageries that my mind is projecting, that before falling prey to it, before agreeing with it, don't you think I also wanted to verify and make sure that these are all correct? I am also aware. Yes, you are right. There is nobody left, we are the 5 and we are not going to fight among ourselves. I know, I am not worried about that. But I tell you something, Bhima. My left shoulder is shaking. How can I ignore that? My own body. You know very well the Saguna. For the men, if the left side, the left eye, left shoulder, these are shaking, that is a sign of bad omen. For the women, it's a right. You know that. And my legs are becoming weak. My eyesight is all of a sudden, I see around, I don't see life around. In fact, I'm really concerned about Krishna. I think our Gopala has left us as orphans. I really feel that in my whole body. I can see the lakes, you see all the waves and the things that are coming there from the water. Don't you see the Mother Earth crying? I can see it. I can feel it. And yesterday, the news came. There was actually, it rained blood in one part of our kingdom. I got the news. No, it is Krishna himself I'm worried about. And without him I cannot live for a second. When he said that, Nakula and Sakadeva were standing there and with their heads down. They were also very anxious, very worried. And Bhima was also worried. He said, immediately he came and knelt down to his elder brother. He said, Anna, please give me permission. I will go right now to Dwaraka and I'll bring back the news to you. While he was praying like that, a servant, a messenger came into that room, into that hall. It's a big hall, you got a picture. It's a big palace, right? And the message was, Arjuna is coming to the inner apartments. He's on his way. The moment the news came, the people were very eager. They were all waiting to see. And Arjuna comes. Immediately, he looked so disheveled. It was not like normal Arjuna. It is not like he was tired or exhausted from the trip or anything. No, it is much more than that. He was weak. He was desolate. He was looking for support. And he comes there, falls down at the feet of Yudhishthira and starts crying. Crying loudly, sobbing, could not stop. Yudhishthira says, Arjuna, what happened? What happened? Get up, get up. He tried to lift him up. No. He was just at his feet, rolling over, crying non-stop, sobbing. What will you do when a situation like that comes? What happened is what you'll ask. What happened? Where? How are people? So you used to ask him question. What happened? How are the people in Dwaraka? How are the Yadavas? Are they well? No answer. Okay, tell me, how are our elders, Devaki, Vasudeva, Yasoda, Nanda? How are they doing? Tell me, give one name after another. Every Yadava you can think of, he names them. There was no answer. So he just continues to talk, continues to cry. Then Yudhishthira says, let that be, forget everybody. How is our Krishna? What message has he given to us? What has he directions he has sent through you? That what does he want us to do? At least tell us that. Then Arjuna could not control himself. He looks up at Yudhishthira and says, Anna, you talk of Krishna? He has left us. 10 days ago, he has left us. Made us all an orphan. The moment he gives that news, Sahadeva immediately recognizes the possibilities of this news. He goes quickly and closes all the doors leading to that room. Closes all the doors immediately. The evening time, the lights were flickering, lamps, candle lights, very dimly lit. All the doors closed because of major news. And then Yudhishthira continues. Arjuna, what you say? What happened? What happened? He has left us an orphan? How unlucky and unfortunate we are. Is there the reason that he saved us from all the calamities in order to hear this news? How fortunate those Yadavas are. If we are like this, how much more misery Devaki and Nanda and Devaki and Vasudeva must be feeling. How much more miserable they must be. Then Arjuna tells, Anna, no, they are more fortunate than we are. All the Yadavas are more fortunate than us, Anna, because we are hearing this news. They all left the earth before they did not stay behind to hear this news. This, what do you say? All the Yadavas are gone? What happened? Did the sea come and wipe out the whole city? Or did some enemy, some horde, some nomad come and fight and kill everybody, all the Yadavas? What happened, Arjuna? I can't believe this. Then Arjuna says, no, brother, no sea came and swallowed. Nobody attacked. They themselves fought among themselves and killed themselves. Couldn't believe it. What do you say? What a shocker this is. I know, Arjuna, you will never say a lie from your mouth. So what you say must be the truth. I can't believe this. What happened? What happened? And did Krishna not try to stop this? What happened? Tell us. Then Arjuna begins. How can I describe the atrocities that took place? Anna, he says. They did in the Prabhasa Kshetra, the holiest place. They did a yagam. For 10 days, beautiful yagam, yajna was done. With Krishna was present. Yadavas and Brahmins. And the yagam was concluded. Purnahuti was done. The final offering, ablutions was done. And then the Brahmins and Yadavas, everybody went to take their ceremonial bath they are supposed to do after finishing the yagam. To come back. And then they took the prasadam, the yajna prasadam, they shared it with the Yadavas. Brahmins gave the prasadam to Yadavas, and after that comes the meal time, lunch, feast it was, because successfully done. So big feast, all the Brahmins were fed, everybody was very happy. And then after the Brahmins ate, the Yadavas sat in a line, nice row, if you can picture that. And they started their food, partaking their lunch. At that time, I don't know what happened. Maybe because the drinks they had, they lost sense of themselves. They started perceiving, thinking that the person sitting next to them is their worst enemy. How can I describe to you the atrocity that took place at that time, Anna? I cannot. Father killed the son killed the father father-in-law killed the son-in-law killed the father-in-law. It was a scene that you cannot even imagine. Till the last person was eliminated. Such an orgy of violence I've never seen. And Yudhishthira says, how can this be? What a shocker! What an unbelievable thing! The Yadavas fighting among themselves? How is it possible? For any fight, he says, you need 3 things. 1, wealth, cause of fight. Other, land. 3rd is woman. But Yadavas were virtuous. They were rolling in wealth. So that cannot be a reason. They were wealthy, prosperous. Land cannot be a reason. They were virtuous. Virtues. The example, they never did anything outside the prescription of what Krishna said. Not one dot they moved the other side. Krishna says jump, they jumped. They didn't ask how high. That's how they were following that. How can such virtuous people... So what is the reason this can happen? And Krishna was there watching all this. Did he not try to pacify them and bring truce and stop this fight? Arjuna says, Anna, you talk of Krishna and you say that Krishna was the best peacemaker, the most skilled peacemaker. Don't you remember what happened in our case? We were also brothers. Kauravas and us, we were also brothers. You think that war that killed 4 million people would have happened if Krishna had not willed it? He said, yes, Krishna was there among us also, but he didn't stop the war. No, Krishna was there. He saw, witnessed all this. I learned, Anna, that day, that nothing moves without his will. We are nothing. We are all puppets. The emotions, we think, look at a situation happening and we look at this end. And we think these events, these processes, these activities cause that end. That is what we think. No. We don't know what we don't see. But he is not like that. He is a Nataka Sutradhari. He pulls, we are all puppets, he pulls the strings. The whole play is his. On the stage of this earth, he has written this play, he has written the dialogue, he has decided the scenes and the acts. He decides what each one should say. And doing all this, he sits in the audience as if he is not concerned, as if he doesn't know. Nothing moves without his will. Even the emotions, the thoughts, the feelings, that we see that and it creates a reaction in us, a certain emotions in us, even that is being decided by him. All these are strings in his hand. He pulls, by puppets we respond. That's what happened that day. That is what I realized. And doing all this, activating us, making us act, making us think, giving us a life force, giving us the opportunity, everything. Bhagavan says in Bhagavad Gita, you are not acting, you try not to act. Impossible for you to sit quiet. The three gunas will pull you. That is three gunas, those are his puppets, those are his strings. So don't think we are not free. We are puppets. He is a Nataka Sutradhari. I realized it that day. But without knowing that, we strut about, move about, roll about. I have done this, I have achieved this. When accomplished people like us think like that, he said, Arjuna, when it's a tapas, he has done so much things he has done. Even accomplished people like us think, I have done this, I have achieved this, I am doing this. What about common man? This is what I learned that day when I could not protect those women that were put in my charge. When I became an impotent warrior, forgot all the mantras and the bow and the arrow that I used to be so good at. I could not do anything. I realized it. What a horrible, horrid experience that I had to go through. He got up and started banging his head against the wall. What an atrocity that took place. Everybody was listening. Yudhishthira and Bhima and Nakula and Sagadeva. When Arjuna said this, I lost all my might that day. I realized that Krishna is a Nataka Sutradhari. Experienced it. One thing to say, another thing to experience it. That's what he said. What do you say? What happened? You lost your powers, your might? What happened? Arjuna leaned himself against a chair, held for support. He said, Anna, I am the most unfortunate. I was not there when our Lord left this earth, left this body, not lived there, left this body. I was not there. I was not fortunate enough to be with him at this moment. He cheated me. Then his charioteer, Daruka, brought a message to me from him that he sent me. Here it is. Then he opened, the dhoti. Those days, instead of purse and all, they used to carry things in folds. They used to actually fold things in the dhoti, very secure. So he opened the fold and brought out a letter. Anna, this is the letter that Krishna sent me. Immediately Yudhishthira jumped with tremendous alacrity and tremendous reverence, worship, respect coming from the Lord, Bhagavan. The first time I heard Bhagavan's voice, I was like that. I was fortunate. First time I heard Bhagavan's voice. How that voice will sound? Will sound like what Hanuman describes to Sita? You know, how Rama's voice will be? Like Vengala sound it will be. You know, like a beautiful sweet bell. I was thinking, picturing, how will Bhagavan's voice be? Right? Like alacrity, he picked up that letter, immediately put it in his eyes. And he was crying. Tears were there. So he could not read it. Tears were preventing. And the letter read, Arjuna read, said, Arjuna, this is my command to you. Carry it out without demur and in full. Carry it out with enthusiasm and courage. That's how the letter began. 10 days from now, before that it said, the mission on which I have come, I have accomplished it. So I am leaving this body. 10 days from now, the city of Dwaraka will be swallowed by the sea. Everything will be swallowed except the sea will swallow everything except the house I lived in. Go there before it happens. Save, protect the women, the children and the aged. Take them to Indraprastha and care for them there. Protect them. This is my command. And thus writes Gopala on leaving for his home. That's what the letter said. And now what can I say? I did not want to live, not for a second, without our Lord. I wanted to go and drown myself in the sea, hit myself with my bow and break my head. But his command, his order, stopped me from doing that. So I immediately went, did the last rites for everybody, then gathered all the women and the old people and the children, everybody as quickly as I could before the sea could come. I had to rush. Time was limited. Then we all left. Very sadly, we didn't want to leave. But we had to do it. That was Bhagavan's command. So I took them. We travelled. We came to Panchanadi, today's Punjab. And there, the night came. So we had to cross a river. So I decided to camp there. Instead of night time crossing a flooded river, so we decided to camp. So all the queens, the ladies and all that, they all got down. And the maidservants, they got down. Everybody dispersed. We collected all the jewels, the valuables that the ladies were carrying, put them away in a safe place, prepared everything. Then I went to the river to do my evening rites, Sandhya Vandanam and all that. Then I came back. Pitch dark it was, absolutely dark. Through that darkness, I could see some nomads, some barbarians, and a troop of barbarians with arms and weapons and all that, making sound and rushing towards where we were. I could see a huge group of them. They came, they looted, carried the valuables, and atrocity. They carried the women also, bound them hands and foot, bound them, and they started carrying them away. Then, he's a Kshatriya. I shouted at them. I said, stop. Unless you want to die, like the moth that goes into a fire. You want to die like that? Otherwise stop. You don't know whom you are dealing with here. I'm Arjuna. Have you heard of Bhishma, Drona and Karna? I fought and won over them. I can dispatch you to death in a trice. I shouted, gave them the warning, but they did not heed. They did not wait. They did not slow down. They continued the looting and the atrocities they were doing. So I picked up my bow and placed the arrow on it, and then to invoke the divine mantras. I went there to invoke the mantra. Anna, you wouldn't believe. I could not remember a single mantra. Not a single mantra I could remember. I realized with Krishna gone, the mantras, everything went away. So I shouted. I sent them the arrows from a quiver till the supply got inexhaustible supply he had. But no more. Number of arrows he had, everything got exhausted. Then he went and attacked them with the bow. The bow broke. Then I got into wrestling. Nothing happened. I became impotent. Right in front of my eyes, these barbarians were carrying away not only the jewels, but the ladies, women. They were shouting, Arjuna, can you not protect us? Is this the reason you brought us here? We might as well have drowned in the sea there. We trusted you. They were shouting. I couldn't do anything. Anna, I could not do anything. I realized that our life force, Krishna, was not there. Nothing I could do. And he banged his head, continued banging his head against the wall. Nakula and Sahadeva were standing there like statues. Tears were pouring down from their eyes. They couldn't move. And Bhima, the strongest, the courageous one, he was standing there. And hot streams of tears were pouring down through his eyes, through his cheeks, just like that. And Yudhishthira saw that. He became afraid. He has never seen Bhima cry. He went to him and patted him, caressed his cheek, consoled him. No, don't worry. Krishna will take care. No. And Bhima said, Anna, I don't want to live anymore. Without Krishna, I cannot live. Give me permission. So I will go and set fire to myself. I will join Krishna right now. I cannot live. Give me permission. Then Sakadeva spoke. He said, Bhima, do you remember what Krishna said that day in that hall to Dhritarashtra? He reminded them. That day when Krishna went as a peacemaker, which knowing fully well there was not going to be any peace, and the only person who knew that before he went was Nakula. He said, don't kid me, nothing is going to happen without your will. All this role that you're playing as a peacemaker, you have already decided war is going to be there, so war will be there. Whatever you decide is going to happen. He's the only one who said that. Everybody said, no, we want peace. So he went there, mainly so that there is no blame later on. Everything has to be done in the proper way, propriety. So he goes there, and in that hall, Duryodhana asks him, you have come to make peace, and as if you are impartial. You are partial to Pandavas. How can you are not equal? You are not treating us equally. Then recall what happened that day, is what Sahadeva says. Shouting like a lion cub, with his hands behind him, the most regal position. When you see Bhagavan or Krishna with his hand behind him, my God, that's a Lord, I'm telling you. And so regal, he was majestically walking to and fro in that hall, and he said, what did you say? That Kauravas and Pandavas are equal to me? Can they be equal to me? No. How can they be equal? Never can they be equal to me. I will tell you what Pandavas are. Yudhishthira is my head. Arjuna is the shoulders. And Bhima is the trunk. Nakula and Sahadeva are the feet. For a body like this, I am the heart. Don't you recall that? Don't you remember that? Yes. So, the heart is stopped. So, we also will go away. Then Nakula says, yes, let us concentrate, focus, think about what our next steps will be. What should we do next? The moment somebody says that, in a moment of crisis, automatically it helpful. It does bring you down, right? Regardless of all the sadness, what should I do next? Immediately say, what should we do next? Let's think about that. Yes, the heart has stopped, but the body will be warm for a while. The limbs will be warm for a while. So we also must go in today or tomorrow. But meantime, what should we do? The moment such a wise word, words of wisdom spoken by him, they all said yes. They said yes, we must now convey this news to the queens, to Draupadi, to Mother Kunti, to everybody. We must convey this. Then, if we convey the news, they all will become sad and miserable. Who cares? When the Lord himself is gone, what we have to do? So they decided that Yudhishthira will carry the news to Mother Kunti, being the eldest. In the meantime, the dawn has begun. Actually, Nakula also said that. Now I can see the signs of dawn. Sun is going to rise, so let us do. I forgot to mention that to you, right? So this is what happened that night, within that hall with all the doors closed. You can picture that. Meantime, where Kunti was staying, she spent the night sleepless. Because she had heard the night before, the dawn time when Arjuna came, the news comes to her also. So she had heard that Arjuna has returned. So she was waiting for him to come and see her, like any mother would do, coming from a long distance after so many days, right? So she waited and waited. And any time she heard some footsteps outside, oh, is it Arjuna? Come on, you come. Like this she used to talk. But Arjuna didn't show up. Then she called the servant maid. You said Arjuna had come. How come he has not come here? Did he really arrive? They confirmed that he arrived. She was thinking among herself, what happened? Why did he not come and see me immediately? It is not like him. Or maybe they must have gotten into some complex administrative issue, political issue that the brothers are discussing. That is why she didn't come. Then after some time, maybe he's very tired, exhausted, from the trip. Where Dwaraka is, where Hastinapur is. You can picture, Dwaraka and Gujarat and Hastinapur or Meerut. The distance is so huge. Even now you can see, right?
Yes.
So, Anshul must be very tired with that. So must be taking rest. So he must have thought, I'll go see my mother the next morning. And then she was thinking, still happened. Then she was thinking, no, must be some naughty issue that Krishna must have sent them and wanted Yudhishthira's opinion on it. So maybe that's what they're deliberating. Like that she was discussing. Meantime, the dawn came. And at that time, something occurred to her. Very unusual. Every night, the sons, all the brothers, used to come and fall at her feet, take her blessings before going to bed. That night they didn't come. They didn't come. So immediately she sent word to servant maid, what happened? The maid goes there to the Pandavas' apartments, comes back and says, no, they didn't even come back to their home also, to their residence. The beds have not been slept in, they didn't even come for dinner. So this now is also troubling. What happened? So she goes, in spite of that, she goes, takes a bath quickly, even earlier than usual, even before Brahma Muhurtam, so to speak. And then eagerly waiting for the sons to come. As soon as she finishes her bath and comes there, the servant maid comes. Yudhishthira, accompanied by Arjuna, is coming. Oh, immediately, just imagine how a mother will feel. She is ecstatic. She is expecting, right? Very energetic. Oh, they're coming. Immediately she is restless. So they come. As soon as they come, and the Arjuna falls at her feet. Just holds her feet. And Yudhishthira sits there, stands there, and with his head down. And Kunti sees this, but her mother immediately, Kanha, come on, get up. You look so tired. Why did you not come and see me last night? I was waiting for you. Don't you know how a mother feels? Arjuna didn't reply. Then, what happened? Anything happened there? Why do you look so tired? You look darker. Are you tired, exhausted? Come on, Kanha. She caresses him. Even though by then, how old Arjuna was? 122 years old or something like that. Okay, Krishna passed away, left his body at 124. Arjuna was 2 years younger. The Mahabharata, that war took place when they were 84 and 82. Okay, so, but Kunti was so old. She started talking and caressing him. Kanha, why did you not come? And how are people there in Dwaraka? And how was Vasudeva? He must be very old by now. Is he like me? Is he also depending on everybody for his life? Like that she was asking. And okay, Arjuna could not answer. Okay, let it be. Tell me about Krishna. How's my Krishna? What did my Gopala say? What message? When is he coming here? Is he going to come and see me? Did he say he's going to come here? Will I be alive by the time he comes? When she said that, Yudhishthira closed his face. Amma, you talk of Gopala, Krishna. He has left us 10 days ago. He's gone. 10 days ago, all Yadavas are gone. Kunti says, what? Krishna is no more. My Krishna, my heart, treasure of my heart, no more. She falls down and breathes her last. The moment she heard the news, how fortunate she is. I heard the news of Avataram going away, but I didn't go with Avataram. Such a Punya Atma he is. Then Yudhishthira sees. Immediately, when you see all of a sudden the body is alive, 1 second, next second, it's lifeless. How do you feel? Padarpu, we say in Tamil. He goes like that, touches her. And Arjuna sees, immediately takes her head and puts her head on his lap. Our mother is no more, he says. That sound, that noise is heard by the servant maids outside the room. They all come rushing in. They see the scene. They start crying. Rush. The news spreads very fast. The queens come. Everybody comes. And the news spreads around the kingdom. This old, aged mother queen is no more. She gave up her life as soon as she heard that Krishna is no more. That news spreads. The whole citizens, everybody becomes doubly sad, more sad at the hearing about Krishna's passing away than Queen's passing away. The whole kingdom becomes melancholy, sorrowful, crying, weeping, sobbing. Few days ago it was ecstatic, if you can picture. Now it's so sad, melancholy. Everybody cries. Bhima, Nakula, Sahadeva, everybody comes. The only person who was calm in the whole thing was Yudhishthira. He consoles everybody. Everybody, calmly he goes around, consoles everyone. The strength and the courage and the calmness that pacifies everyone. One minister asks him, King, your mother was so dear to you, she is no more, but you are so detached. You act as if you don't even care. How come so? He says, Sir, I envy my mother. He says, she was most fortunate because the moment she heard Krishna is no more, she gave up her life and joined him. I am not that fortunate. I am not that fortunate. That's the answer he gives. Then he tells Arjuna, listen, we have to do several things quickly. The last rites for our mothers to be arranged. He tells Arjuna, on coronation of Parikshit must take place. Arrange it. And we must leave. Immediately, Arjuna delegates that work of coronation of Parikshit work. Activities, things have to be prepared. To Nakula and Sahadeva. Bhima takes the work of conducting the last rites, whatever has to be done. And the detachment that everybody has, these brothers have, exemplary, transformation. They're attaching to Krishna, manmana bhava. Whatever you do, Swami, I will hang on only to you. Whatever you do, I'll hang on only to you. That's what all the Bhaktas and Bhagavatas say. When you read Bhagavatam, learn from them one lesson. Whatever you do, your will. What Dhruva did, it's amazing what Dhruva did. And what your will, I will do. Karishye vachanam tava, that's not easily done. What Arjuna says, Bhagavatas. So, people are talking about among themselves. Now, the mother, old age queen, her last rites are being done. Even while that is being done, the king is now talking of coronating Parikshit, and even while that being done, he's thinking of giving up everything, all the things that they once fought for and all this. Who will give up wealth and prestige and position and everything that you have? Just like that, dropping a handkerchief, just like that, dropped. They were wonderstruck at the vairagyam of Yudhishthira. Vairagyam, Swami says, very important in Bhagavad Gita. Long time I struggled with it. How can you detach yourself from something? You tell me. English translation always says detachment. Vairagyam, detachment. I used to read it in English. I suffered. I could not really. It's not possible. Mind is not made to detach. The quality of mind is what? There are two qualities. Okay? So I'll share this with you. Very important lesson. Quality of mind. Why do we compare mind to a snake? What is the reason a snake appears? Adiseshan, Bhagavan Narayanan lying down there. Sivan, if you take, he's got a bhushanam, Naga bhushana. He's got ornaments of snakes. Why not ornament of lion or deer or something like that? Snake has got a symbolic reason. Our elders haven't done things out of slight. Everything has got significance and meaning and education and teaching. We have to understand it. Everything. Okay? Including the modakam that Pilayar has in his hand. Everything has got a significance. And we must understand. So why is snake? I used to think about it. Then I learned. Snake and mind are the same. Why? There are two qualities the snake has. It never runs straight. It always runs crooked. So you all know. Mind runs crooked. The second quality of snake is what? When a snake charmer goes and gives that music, what does the snake do? It focuses. Mind has the ability to focus, but only on one thing at a time. This multitasking and all is nonsense. Nobody can do it. Impossible. Any particular instant, mind can focus only on one thing. That quality, that focus quality like snake has, mind has. So, mind can only attach itself. It cannot detach itself. Do you understand? Snake attaches itself to that music. So, how can you detach? The detachment is a wrong word in English. Vairagyam. Vairagyam is a word in Sanskritam. So, the way you do that vairagyam is to attach to something. Attach to the lotus feet. Attach to Bhagavan's name. Then automatically your mind detaches from all the other things as a result of attaching to something else. That is vairagyam. So that is what Yudhishthira, vairagyam, they were talking. Beautifully. So then the last rites were done of the queen. Then the young boy Parikshit was brought in. He went in from inside. Very virtuous boy. Listened to elders. Whatever elders want, he did. Didn't question. So they brought him, he came in the Simhasanam. Now here what had happened, when Arjuna came from Dwaraka, trying to carry out the last command of Krishna, but did not succeed. That was also Bhagavan's will. There was one single Yadava child, young boy rather, who was a lone survivor of Yadava clan. His name was Vraja. Vraja was his name. Now, just imagine if I'm the only one surviving and all my family members and friends and everybody that I know of is killed. How will you feel? Feel guilty. You feel a bit of ashamed. I don't want to show your face to somebody. How come? I'm the only one, right? So he was like that. Young boy, feeling shameful for being the lone survivor. So he never wanted to show his face to anybody. So Arjuna brought him. So that now Arjuna came to Indraprastha. That's the command from Krishna. Take them to Indraprastha and care for them there. In the meantime, Yudhishthira and his brothers had moved to Hastinapura. Why? The Simhasanam, the throne, the royal throne was still in Hastinapura. They had not moved. Even though Indraprastha was the capital for Yudhishthira, the throne was still there in Hastinapura. And so he was doing kind of sometime here and sometime there kind of a thing. Okay? And Hastinapura, because of the things associated with it, the war and the results and so many things associated. So they wanted to move away from there. Right? So when Arjuna arrived in Indraprastha, he didn't find Yudhishthira there. So from there he had to come to Hastinapura. So this is what happened with Vraja. So now they bring Parikshit and put him on that royal throne. And he is wearing a like a diamond thing. Then Yudhishthira, he decided to do the coronation ceremony. He did not invite. There was no time to invite people. Because coronation ceremony in this huge Bharata dynasty is a huge thing. Planned months ahead, invitation sent to everybody. Grand occasion it is. Several days the function will go. Such a festive thing. But here, no sub-ruler, nobody. There was no time to invite anybody. There was no time even to invite the rulers in the city itself. Done quickly, just like that. Just some Brahmins and a few, just a picture, basically in the inner apartment of where Yudhishthira was. The boy came, made him sit in the chair, and Yudhishthira took the royal crown, put it on his head. Everybody was crying. Everybody. Yudhishthira had tears. The boy, because sees everybody, the boy cries. So all the elders, everybody, they're all crying. Because this coronation, passing of the rulership, used to be done to festive music and to the chanting of Vedas. Music and dance and bugles and so many things have to be there. It was a silent affair. People crying. Nobody could take it. Everybody was sad. It happened just momentarily, just like that. And the boy was crying. Parikshit, tears. As soon as the crown was put on, he jumped out because he didn't want to disrespect the elders. He was just doing whatever they asked him to do. Now he couldn't control himself. He got up and jumped up and fell at Yudhishthira's feet. Oh Tata, why are you doing this? What is this? Why are you giving me this responsibility? I am stupid, I am ignorant, I am a fool, I have not studied anything, I don't know anything, I am incompetent. This responsibility has been held by great warriors, right? And people with so much dharmic conduct and not an easy thing. No, why are you putting this on my shoulder? Give it to somebody else. Take me with you wherever you are going. I will go with you. Give this to somebody else. He was crying non-stop. Yudhishthira picked him up and lifted him like this. And at that time, even Yudhishthira could not stop crying when he saw this. He said, Parikshit, listen, remember and recall the lineage that you are born in. Your father, your grandfathers, they're all great warriors. They had to struggle, they had to fight, they had to do so many things courageously. Be courageous. Be like them. Don't be a coward. That's what he did. Then Parikshit jumped to Arjuna. And before he jumped, he said one thing. When Yudhishthira talked like that, he said, no Tata, how can it be? How can it be? I was just a young boy. I did not even get to see my father since the day I was born. And you were all bringing me up with so much love and affection. And I knew my grandfathers were there and they were taking care of me. I was so happy. And now you do this? Is this the reason that you protected me? You could have killed me in my mother's womb. He started talking like that. Rather than this, I will take my life. Words that are not to be spoken like that. Immediately Arjuna came there and put his hand over his mouth and lifted him, caressed his head and cheek and all that, put him on his shoulder. A small boy, young boy. And then he said, your grandfathers also were like that. We didn't have our father. We grew up without our father only. And Brahmins and elders brought us up. We were courageous. Like that you should be. The same Lord Krishna who acted as guardian and guide to us, He will protect you. Don't worry. He will guide you. He will guard you. They were talking like that. And he was also crying. The boy was crying. Then Arjuna looked around. There were Brahmins were there, standing. Everybody was standing like a statue. So Arjuna asked the Brahmins, the elders, how come you are all standing like this, not saying anything? And one of the Brahmins said, Sir, we are also wonderstruck. The words that the boy speaks is hitting us like sword thrusts. What can we say? Then Kripacharya came up after a few minutes. He came to Yudhishthira and said, Maharaja, we don't know. We really don't know. All we see is that you have fought long and hard to get this kingdom, to get your rightful, just rulership of this kingdom. You didn't get it easily. You fought so throughout your life. You suffered so much injustice and cruelty and all that, but you withstood all that and you held on to dharma and you fought and you got this kingdom, and now you want to give it up and go away? I don't understand it. I don't understand it. But you know best. You are our king. That's what he said. Kept quiet and took a step back. Then Yudhishthira tells him, Swami, you know very well that not a single action or activity I do without the direction from Krishna. I do whatever Krishna wanted me to do. There was not a single thing that I want to do by myself. Now with Krishna no longer there, I have no activities. I have nothing to do. I want to be with him. That is my home. That's the explanation he gives. Then he brings Parikshit's hands, he takes, puts it in the hands of Kripacharya and tells him, Swami, take care of him. Make sure he rules the kingdom properly. Make sure he protects the dynastic traditions well. Make sure he follows the dharmic traditions and make sure he takes care of the welfare of all the people. When he did that, everybody was crying. Everybody. Even Kripacharya could not help. He had to take his sangavasam like this and wiping his tears. The Brahmins, sobbing and sad, they started reciting the Vedic mantras, the hymns, and giving their asirvadam. Then Yudhishthira calls Raja, comes there into the room. Then he puts a crown on his head. Hereby I declare you to be the king of Yadava, the Dwaraka and the Surasena state. Mathura and Surasena state. Mathura and Surasena state. You will be the king. Then he does a beautiful thing which I always remember when it is so powerful, and when I came across this first time I was clean bowled. I'll share that with you. He takes Vraja's hand and Parikshit's hand, clasps them together, and he says, be allies, be brothers. First he says, be brothers, and be allies in war and peace, in unbreakable friendship. What a beautiful advice. Imagine. Then he calls Parikshit separately. No, first he calls Vraja separately first. He tells him, now you must respect and worship and treat Parikshit as your Lord, overlord, king of you, your king. Then he calls Parikshit separately. He tells him, you must treat Vraja as Aniruddha himself. That's a command he gives. Aniruddha himself, Krishna's grandson. So how beautifully the relationships are established. Then the Pandavas, each one of them, they embrace the two boys very quickly, very like a lightning speed. They embrace. The Pandavas are now picture of detachment and just embrace, and they give one word of advice to Parikshit. Just one word. And then they start filing out of the hall, one after the other, one behind the other, with just the clothes they were wearing. And creates a huge commotion. Everybody is wonderstruck, astonished. People come, fall at their feet, and people from the inside Antapuram, inner apartment, the queens and the ladies, this is what's happening. They all rush out. Citizens come there, the Brahmins, everybody. People try to stop them. No, wait. Fall at their feet, try to block their passageway. But not even the slightest disturbance. They walk. They neither acknowledge and permit the people who ask to be joined them, nor do they acknowledge the people who are coming there. Absolutely indifferent to it. They walk. Parikshit runs over, chases them, the boy. The elders go and bring him back, even though themselves are crying. Some of the young citizens, adventurous and strong and healthy and all that. Some of them, they follow the Pandavas, go with them. But after a while, they get tired. They return. And the maids and the queens and the ladies, they all follow. After a while, they get tired. The ladies, queens, the maids come back and bring the news to them. They are gone. And Draupadi, she follows. She follows them, calling them one by one, the name Yudhishthira, Bhima, Arjuna, Nakula, Sahadeva. No reaction. No reaction. Why? Because the Pandavas undertook the most severe penance there is, called Mahaprasthanam. Mahaprasthanam means you walk northwards, the direction of north, without stopping, without resting, without eating, without drinking. Continue to walk till your body falls down by itself. Then you merge. That's the vow they had undertaken. And as they were going, there was a dust storm that came. And people in the city of Hastinapura, they took those dust and put it on their eyes, worshipping it. These dusts, they must have touched the feet of Yudhishthira. Yudhishthira, sand, the sand that is being touched by Yudhishthira's feet. That's how they worshipped him. In the meantime, the Pandavas were going northwards and Draupadi was following them. She realized, being the highly intelligent person that she is, she realized that the bond that had connected her to her husband has broken. She realized it. Then, with her mind on Krishna, she fell down at the place allotted to her, at the time allotted to her, and merged in Krishna. Manmana bhava. What time do I think of Bhagavan? What time? Always, not easy. Always. Not only in difficulties, not only at night or morning time or dawn or dusk or pradosham and all. No, nonsense. There is no Rahu Kalam, there is no Yamakandam. Trust me. Any time you think of Bhagavan is Punya Kalam. If you believe that, then there's no Rahu Kalam for you. If you don't believe that, then follow the Rahu Kalam things. Okay, very important. Depends on what you believe. Faith must be strong. Okay, then nothing else matters. So she gave up her life and merged with Krishna. And Pandavas, each one of them, same way, each body fell down and merged with the soul merged with Krishna at the time allotted to them. Back in the kingdom, Parikshit ruled the kingdom with morality and justice. If you want an example of how a leader should be, how a king should be, how a manager should be, how a CEO should be, whatever thing you could, even the group of 10 people or a whole country of 1 billion, it doesn't matter. How should a leader be? Ramarajyam we think of, but Rama is God, Ramarajyam dharma. But take one ordinary person like us, who said Manmana bhava madbhakto matyaji mam namaskura. That's all he did. Fortunately, blessed Manmana bhava, he started even in fetus itself. So it was great, like Prahlada did, right? But that's all. But how he ruled that kingdom, that's an example of how an administration should be done. I'm telling this to you without the slightest hesitation. I take my lessons, management lessons, everything, everywhere I go, I take this as the example. Parikshit's rule is one thing you must really go into detail. How he looked after his people. What did he do? He was not a fool, he was not naive, but he was dharmic. Therefore he was strong. He looked after the weakest of the weakest. The lowliest thing, make sure that they were taken care of. And he built temples. Why? Why should I build temples? To promote the love for God, not fear for God. No, God does not want to fear Him. Love Him. Love for God. Promote. Then rishis, saints, they have to do their sadhanas. Why? Because as Paramacharya said, one soul somewhere. Why do we produce children? That's a natural thing that's taking place, not because something we do. That's the natural urge, as we're going to cover later on, okay? Why? Because somewhere some millions of people born, one good soul will be there. And that's the aikyam, the sayujyam, and becomes one with Bhagavan, the good soul. With that particular soul creates so much benefit to whole of not only humanity, but the whole of creation itself. For that one thing, millions and millions of people can be born, but that one soul is the reason that we are all born. So, promote the goodness among rishis and saints, their sadhana, their discipline, tapas and everything else for the welfare. So he did that, promoted love for God, and most important, very practical. As Avatar Purusham says, Swami says, I know that you all can operate, but can you cooperate? Sahana vavatu, sahanau bhunaktu, saha viryam karavavahai. That's what, saha, togetherness. That is what we have lost today because of our selfishness. He promoted that. Saha. Just picture, just a small group, 10 people, 2 people, 100, doesn't matter. All of them are together, mentally and physically. How beautiful that will be. That is Paramapadam. That is where Bhagavan is. That is peace, that is Shantam, that is Vaikuntham. And that Saha is promoted, that togetherness. So, the kingdom was very peaceful. Everybody was happy. So much so, the rains came on time. How will the rains come? Not rain. The equation algorithm is given in Bhagavad Gita. When you see, we must pay attention to it. Very simple algorithm. I'll share that with you. How does the rain come? It's one thing to say, water vaporizes, comes as cloud. No. What makes the water vaporize and go to the water-bearing cloud and rain comes? It's a little bit more than that. Very simple. Yajna, sacrifice. We are all given karmas, actions and activities. You do your actions with a feeling of sacrifice. That means minus selfishness. Sans selfishness for the welfare of others. Sacrifice. If you do the sacrifice, then that becomes rain. And the rain comes and gives you food, which you have to eat in order to sustain. Then you do the activity. That's a cycle. Okay? In among all this is, as we saw, bhakti, which is love for God. We saw that, right? Bhakti, bhakti, everything else is within that. That's all the equation is. So because he did that, rains came on time. If rains come on time, what happens to food? You get plenty of food. Then people eat, people are nourished, happy. Simple. That's what he did. So much morality and justice. They're all not words. They are really actionable experiences. Seriously. And individually, each one of us has an obligation for morality and justice. And also a duty. So much so much justice was there, the saying goes, even the wind was afraid to move an object for the fear of being accused of thievery. That's how tight and strong it was. He also knew. So this was happening. Everybody was happy. And the ministers and the elders and everybody, such a virtuous boy, liked by everyone, because at the same time he was strong, right? You must appreciate that. And so they all gathered among themselves and said, this now boy has become a young man, so time that he got married. So they made a proposal to him. And he agreed. He said yes. So immediately they went to Uttara, which is uncle. Uncle had a daughter. Her name was Airavati. And very nice, highly virtuous lady, like a real soulmate, made for each other. So the marriage took place. And Airavati, now we talk of all this women's equality and women's movement and all these things today. These are all there in our heritage also. She, not in the sense of women's equality and raising a flag. It was not. It was done very quietly. One of the things that she took went around the kingdom and talked to the women of different classes. Could be poor, could be rich, educated, doesn't matter. Everybody, she encouraged them and promoted their talents to come out, and gave them succor and comfort. I said, any complaints you have, you come to me. Doesn't matter who you are. She was always approachable. So did tremendous things. Everybody loved her. Loved both the king and the queen. People consider them to be their heart. So much so, when their son was born, he was called Janamejaya. When the birth of the son came, the citizens were so happy. They were happier with the son being born to the king and the queen, more happy than if the son had been born to them. That's how happy they were really. That is how the relationship was. Now, the king knew that Kali had come, because with the passage of Bhagavan's avatar form, Krishna's form, the Dwapara Yuga door was closed and the door of Kali Yuga opened. That is why, as Bhima was telling Yudhishthira, all these things you begin to see, right? And Kali, you got to be, there's nothing that is wrong or to be despicable, so to say, in Bhagavan's creation. Everything is sacred. Everything is sacred. But everything in Bhagavan's grace has its own quality and characteristic. Through the quality and the characteristic, Bhagavan's effulgence is there. Darkness has a characteristic of being dark. But Bhagavan's effulgence, I am able to see darkness. Right? You understand? So, same way, ice, as what is the quality of ice? Immediately, it's a cold. What's the quality of fire? Heat, right? Now, what is the quality of a human being?
Love.
Exactly. So, we have to think. So, each one has its quality. Kali Yugam, in the scheme of time, which is also Bhagavan's creation, right? It's got its characteristic. They say, for example, in a given 24 hours, we have 24 hours. Very important thing to remember. The time also has got the three characteristics: sattvic, rajasic, tamasic. Sattva, rajas, tamas. What is the time quality? Think. Morning 4 to 8 and evening 4 to 8 is sattvikam. Evening 8 to morning 4 is tamasic. Morning 8 to evening 4 is rajasic. Think. This is the quality of time. Everything has got time. So Kali Yugam, the characteristic of Kali Yuga is Kalagam. Kali Yugam is Kalaga Yugam. Okay, creating mischief, troubles and all these things. Now, Parikshit was aware of this. Kali has come. Now, being the manager that he is, he didn't wait for all the damages to be done. Before the damage could take place, he took preventive measures. This is the sign of very important. It's one thing to react, but the other thing is what we call as proact. He was very good at that. He consulted with the rishis and Kripacharya. Even though he became elder, he never deviated from taking their counsel. Always consulted them. Very important. Another important lesson for us to know. Okay, and so they gave advice. Yes, and but he was intent on even taking steps to make sure that Kali does not show up. What does it mean in reality? All Kali, what does it mean? Simple. Injustice, violence, cruelty, untruthfulness. People start lying. Now you go to India, everybody lies. That's Kali. See, point is, that's not right. You see what I'm saying? We all see this. So, whereas he took steps to prevent violence from taking place, from cruelty from taking place, from injustice from taking place. So he was always on God like that. So because of that, there was peace in the kingdom. Because there was peace and everybody was happy, he actually could go out and conquer some of the adjacent lands in his tours. At that point, we will stop today. And then, with Bhagavan's grace, we will continue the reign of Parikshit, and then what happens, and some more stories and glories of Bhagavata and Bhagavan. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Samasta Lokaha Sukhino Bhavantu Samasta Lokaha Sukhino Bhavantu Samasta Lokaha Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om.